Of this beautiful city of ours, John Tory has raised a lot of eyebrows and anger when he announced last week he's now in favor of tolls on the Gardiner Expressway and the Don Valley Parkway. So today, we invited his worship for a one-on-one interview on those very highways to find out how he came to such a radical shift in his position. All right, let's go.
Ready to go.
Whenever we go out in the field and do a story, the one thing that we hear time and time again is affordability. People are so concerned about how they're going to make ends meet. And now we're talking about adding $1,000 to their yearly bill. How do you justify that? And what do you say to people who have to make tough decisions now?
I'm very sympathetic to the fact that people are struggling. And they're not just people who are, unemployed. There are people who are employed and who are struggling. But at the same time, many of those very same people are telling us, those of us in public life, that we need, for example, more transit and we need to fix traffic.
The thing is, you said a year ago, Mayor, that you didn't believe in road tolls, especially for roads that we've already paid for, like the Gardiner and the DVP, and now you're completely changing your mind.
I mean, I've had a historically sort of consistent position of saying that I don't think we should be charging road tolls on roads that we already paid to build.
What I said a year ago was that it was not my preferred choice, and I guess it wasn't initially, but then I went through doing the work people would expect me to do. The notion, for example, of asking the 40% of people who use the Gardiner and the Parkway who pay no taxes in the City of Toronto but use the roads we pay for, the notion of asking them to make a small contribution was something that made the overall package of road tolls seem fairer to me.
Let me respectfully interrupt you there, because then why don't you just get the 9-to-5ers to pay, or people who use people in Toronto are already paying the property tax for these very roads, so why can't they be exempt?
Well, I've tried to make the point. First of all, these tolls are not for roads. They are for roads in part, but they're more for transit projects. We're on a section of the road right now that actually has totally finished out, or is within 2 years of finishing out its useful life. So there'll be a safety issue, and it has to be rebuilt. And so the cost of rebuilding it is in the billions of dollars. Not a few million, it's billions. Every time you sort of cut out a group that's going to pay, or cut out a time people have to pay, you raise less money. And that money has to come from somewhere.
One of the things you brought up was the safety of pedestrians. Do you not believe that? Do you not believe that still will be a concern?
It is something we're going to have to keep an eye on, and I believe, though, that I believe in our ability to employ traffic management measures. Now we've asked for and we're going to receive the ability to use technology to control speed in school zones, and there's an example of the kind of thing I think we can do.
I know you said this isn't a popularity contest, but you've been in politics a long time. Do you think this is going to hurt your chances in 2018?
Well, I'm prepared to take that risk.
So the mayor said that, his choice, he had three choices. One was raising property taxes to double-digit increases. The other was to sell Toronto Hydro. He didn't want to do that because it's a one-time thing. And the third was road tolls.
What's interesting is how this is going to play it on the provincial side, because he actually needs approval from the provincial government. And Wynne has said, well, we'll look at it, has been slightly favorable to it. But in 2018, we have an election, and Patrick Brown, the opposition leader, has said he is opposed to it. So it's possible it could go through and then be rescinded.
And I mentioned that. And he said, I'm not going to speak in hypotheticals, but I mean, Patrick Brown could arguably build his whole campaign around it, right? It's a issue that really impacts voters, and people have an opinion on it for sure.
Just like Mike Harris saying no to photo radar back this year.